Hey guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be talking to you about the top 10 signs that you may actually have IBS. I myself do suffer with IBS. I make a ton of videos on IBS, so please do check out my channel. I'll link some of them at the end for you. My name is Samantha, so welcome if this is the first video you've seen of me, and let's get into this video. Diet, stress and changes in the gut bacteria may trigger symptoms in many sufferers. Moving on to the top 10 signs then. So one of the main things people complain about with IBS is pain and cramping in the abdominal area. Now it is a key factor in diagnosis and is definitely one of the most known symptoms of IBS. It's the most common symptom and is a key factor in diagnosis. The pain usually occurs in the lower abdomen or across the abdomen, but it is less likely to be in the upper part of your stomach. People tend to find that after passing a bowel movement, the pain usually decreases. Now this obviously won't be the case for everyone, but in studies they have found that often the pain does decrease after going to the loo. Now, as a sufferer myself, I know that this isn't always the case, so you may find that you still have some pain. We're all different. This is just off of studies that have been conducted. They have found that pain does decrease after you have been to the toilet. So the next symptom is diarrhea, another really common one. Diarrhea predominant IBS is one of the three main types of the disease that you can actually get. Diarrhea affects 1/3 of IBS patients. Accelerated bowel transit can mean that you might need to go to the loo very urgently without much notice, resulting in an immediate urge to need to go to the loo. Another very common thing when you are having diarrhea that is related to IBS, you will often notice obviously that it's very watery, but that it will also contain some mucus some of the time. Now I just want to point out quickly, blood isn't typically associated with IBS, so please do get that checked out if you are having blood in any of your stool, whether it be watery, hard or whatever its consistency. You really must get that checked out. Before I go any further, I just want to say I'm not a medical care professional. I do a ton of research and I am a sufferer of this lovely condition myself, so that's just something I must say, as I feel that is very important. So moving on, one of the other very common symptoms is constipation. Constipation is a very common symptom of IBS. However, abdominal pain that improves after a bowel movement and a sensation of having incomplete emptying of your bowel is also another sign of IBS that does tend to be related to the constipation side of things. I know that I have experienced this fun symptom myself. Although I suffer predominantly from the IBS-D side of things, I have definitely experienced this and it is not pleasant. Another very common symptom of IBS is IBS-A or IBS alternating. This means that you tend to switch from being very constipated to having horrendous diarrhea really quickly. And it's again another really fun symptom. About 20% of patients with IBS experience these alternating periods of having constipation and diarrhea. Throughout each phase, whether that is the constipation or the diarrhea side of things, people tend to report that they do feel a significant reduction in pain when they have passed a bowel movement. Now for me personally, I tend to get more pain when I'm on the constipation end of things, I guess just because it's harder. Lovely. I'd really be interested to see how IBS does affect other people, and maybe if enough people see this video, if enough experts see this video, they might actually read the comments and see what real people with IBS are saying, so do drop a comment. IBS typically changes the time that stool remains in your intestines. This means that depending how long it takes to pass through, whether it's too quick or too slow, you will either have very watery stools or very hard, which is why we get constipation or diarrhea. and again is an extremely common symptom of IBS. Gas and bloating can be really frustrating and really embarrassing, and it always seems to be at the worst times, in my experience at least. Supposedly a low FODMAP diet should really help reduce how much gas and bloating you're having. I have personal experience in this area. I have a video on the low FODMAP diet which I will also link at the end of this video, and I'll put a card up on the screen now. Please do finish watching this video first, however, and then go back and watch that as I go more into detail about the low FODMAP diet. Another common one, but that definitely I would say is a bit less known between people with IBS, although is becoming more known, especially right now, is food intolerances. I know for me this has played a big part in my symptoms. If I eat something that doesn't agree with me, it really messes me up, and it can mess me up for days. So many people with IBS do report having trigger foods. These are often found in foods with high FODMAPs. Now again, I've done a video on the FODMAP diet. I'm going to be doing more videos on that, so go and check out my channel. But people do tend to find that things like onion, garlic and caffeine are very, very high on their trigger food list. For me, onions and garlic are right at the top. Again, wheat and gluten and dairy products can be really bothersome for people with IBS. There are foods, however, like the ones I just mentioned, that really are the dangerous ones when it comes to symptoms of IBS. So I definitely would say go and look up the low FODMAP diet, speak to your doctor if you're unsure about anything, or even go and see a nutritionist or a dietitian, because they can be really helpful at helping you identify your food triggers. Another symptom is difficulty sleeping, and also obviously because of that being really fatigued a lot of the time. This is something that really affects me. Even still, even after making the changes I still have a couple of days a month where I literally don't sleep all night. Now, the thing is, when your gut isn't happy, it's very difficult to sleep. Your gut really does affect your quality of sleep. If your gut isn't happy, you're not really going to get a good quality night's sleep. On top of that, fatigue and poor sleep can then trigger further IBS symptoms. So it's all a really vicious circle, and I really know what it's like. So you're not alone. Just know that I'm right here with you. I'm making this video right now. But 2 nights ago I was really ill. I barely slept at all. I was up and down to the loo. I think I'd eaten something that didn't agree with me, and I literally couldn't sleep. So you must always remember as well that with IBS there are tons of people suffering. Drop your comments below if you want to chat with me about anything, or if you want to ask me any questions, please do comment, because that is why I make these videos. I really want to provide you with helpful information, and also I enjoy talking to people that suffer with the same condition as me, and hopefully I can also offer you some help. Another really common symptom of IBS is anxiety and depression. I know from my own experience, and for other people, and from other people I know with IBS, that this is extremely common, and a lot of people complain about it. And to be honest, it's not a surprise, because the thing is, it's a vicious cycle. When you're worried about how your gut is going to respond, you then actually can trigger symptoms. Now, anxiety can be related to health, obviously. People have all different reasons for having anxiety, but when you have IBS, a lot of the time you're worrying about finding a loo, you're worrying about having symptoms at work or when you're out with friends, or whatever it is you've got to do. You're worried about not being near a toilet or just feeling ill. So the thing is, when you're worried, this really affects your gut. So you can literally set off symptoms just because you're worried about having symptoms. So really try not to worry as much. I know it's really hard. This is really coming from someone that is very experienced in the anxiety area especially. I have had absolutely terrible anxiety related to my IBS. Sometimes CBT, which is cognitive behavioural therapy, can be really helpful. It's definitely helped me to an extent. They will teach you various techniques that will really help when you're feeling anxious. So I would recommend looking into that. So obviously, if you can tackle your anxiety, this should in turn actually reduce some of your IBS symptoms. Now, on the depression side of things, obviously people experience depression for all sorts of reasons. Now, I felt very low at times. Now, I know that my state of mind has been affected by how I feel, because you can feel very isolated, very alone, like people don't understand how you're feeling. It can then spiral into different areas of your life, like your personal life, your working life, and it can really bring you down. So if you're experiencing anxiety or depression, do go to your GP. And there are a lot of support groups online. On Facebook, there's even groups. There's a good website called Health Unlocked, which I use personally, which is really helpful, where you can speak to other people in private. You know, you don't have to have a profile picture, you don't even have to use your real name if you're worried about people finding out that you're struggling with anxiety or depression. It's nothing to be ashamed of, and it's very common. But these groups can be very helpful, so do seek some support. Don't just ignore it and don't hope that it just goes, because really these are symptoms that really need to be addressed and that you can't just leave, and there is a lot of help out there. You don't need to feel as bad, so please, I urge you to go and seek help if you are having issues with anxiety and depression. And I'm always here as well. Drop a comment below if there's anything you want to ask me, and I'll be happy to speak to you and hopefully offer you some guidance in any of these areas anyway. But if you want to speak to me about anxiety and depression, please do drop a comment. Now, coming to the last symptom on the list, and that is nausea. Nausea is one of the absolute worst, for me anyway, symptoms of IBS, and really annoyingly it's not actually listed as a symptom on a lot of articles, because I was doing a lot of research before I did this video, and I actually had to search, because I know it's related just from experience, just from knowing other people and my own personal experience. And nausea is really related to IBS. It is one of the most debilitating symptoms that can really affect all areas of your life and how well you function day to day. Studies have found that 4 out of 10 women and 3 out of 10 men with IBS do report having nausea as a symptom of their IBS. The thing is with this symptom is it can actually overlap with other gastrointestinal disorders such as GERD, which is gastroesophagus reflux disease, I believe that is what it's called, and other things like that. When you have too much stomach acid or too little stomach acid, you get the same symptoms as when you have too much stomach acid when you haven't got enough, just to complicate things. So that can make you feel sick. It makes me feel sick. I suffer with acid reflux, I have done for a long time, and I know that if I've got too much acid, that is going to make me feel sick, and often that is why I feel sick. So yeah, be aware that nausea is a symptom, but it's also a symptom of other gastrointestinal diseases. So if you're suffering a lot with nausea and acid, also go to your GP. Go to your GP about any of this though. If you're worried about anything, please don't just leave it. So that is basically the 10 symptoms. I don't know why I'm doing this like 5, 10. The 10 symptoms of IBS, well, the most common ones. I'm sure there's more. Drop a comment below also if you think there are more symptoms of IBS, and let me know. So that is the end of this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you have enjoyed it, or if it has been helpful. That means the world to me, and that means that we can help and reach more people with IBS. Please also drop a comment below saying gut health if this has been helpful to you. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I have made a ton of videos already on IBS, and I will be continuing to do videos on this topic. I upload weekly, so you don't want to miss when I upload. Make sure that you click the bell. Also, if you have any video requests, please let me know in the comments section. I've really enjoyed sharing. Well, I'd say it's a funny thing to enjoy. But yeah, I do enjoy speaking to you guys about IBS. It makes me feel better in dealing with my condition as well. And knowing that I'm helping some of you, I've had some really nice comments from you guys saying that this has helped. If I help one person, even if it's one person, I always say it in every video, if I help just one person, then that is a good thing. So yeah, I really hope this has been beneficial for you, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you for watching.